So, good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's session on estimating. The reason why I wanted to do this session was I think it's important that you understand how to put profit into your business. And as part of doing that, you need to know where your costs are from the break-even point of your business, what your overheads are. They're the key foundations for it. But the main principle of running a business, aside from knowing what your operational costs are, is designing your business around profit. One thing that frustrates me is when I see people putting comments on Facebook saying, how much would you charge for this? Well, if you don't know how much you're charging, straight away you're in a situation where potentially you could be losing money, let alone making money. I've got somebody coming in now. So what I wanted to do was allow people the opportunity to see a range of different services that cover the whole spectrum. So everything from how to do like a fact packet estimate, in essence, Estimator App. So we've got Tom Hunt on, and then for those who are going from smaller repairs to bigger repairs and actually doing things where you need to get into repair methods and understand how to utilize an estimated system that creates an accurate assessment. That's why we've got GT Emulsive coming on. And then also we've got Mark Percy at Estimate Audit. And what he'll be doing later on is showing you how to actually go through an audit assessment and making sure that all the appropriate aspects of the repair methodology are in the estimate and how to build profit into it to make sure that however you estimate something, you're getting the best amount of profit out of whatever you do. So the first person on there is going to come in. So I'd like to introduce Tom Hunt. So
hi everyone.
He's from Smart Estimators. So I'm going to put you into being host, Tom.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you.
If everybody else is on here, just make sure that you actually. I've just seen you come in then, Debs. You're all right. So your mic's off, but just make sure everybody is coming that your microphone's on mute. The reason being is that it can be a bit distracting that when you're presenting to people on here, if it picks up any background noise, it will focus the camera on you rather than the person presenting. So just to make sure. So I've got somebody else coming in now.
Always the way.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just going to let customer restore come in. So I'll just remind them to mute themselves. Just make sure they can get on. Can you hear us? Customer restore, can you hear us okay? Yeah. So can you hear us okay? Customer restore. Just give me a thumbs up if you can. So you've come in a bit late, so you just missed the introduction. So the first person who's going to come in is Tom Smart from the Smart Estimator App. So I'm going to hand over to him now, and I'll make you host. And then if you just pass it back to me later on, and then if you want to go through and screen share as well. So yeah, Tom, not everybody.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, Tim. I'm just going to share my screen with you guys now. Yeah, so just to give you a bit of insight into the app itself, it was basically designed a few years ago. I'm a sort of sole trader, had a unit. I had about 5 cars that I could squeeze in it. It was just myself doing a lot of trade work, doing a lot of work, and then the odd insurance job. Now, like Tim said, it's really important that you understand what your figures are. So what your paying materials are every month, what you want to be earning, taking home, essentially your hourly rate, things like this, because this will be the foundation and the cornerstone. Now, the whole idea behind the app is you put those details into the app and then the app will work for you. So let's get started with the settings, because this is going to be the first thing that you'll do when you first come into the app. So you set up your company details, which is basically your name, all your bits and pieces there, tax ID, things like that. And then you get your hourly rate set up here with all your discounts. Now, obviously, discount being the main thing, why you'd give a discount, again, it could be friends or family. It could be you have a dealership they do a lot of work for, and you just want to give them that discount. So the app does facilitate that. So you can select a drop down and then put in your hourly rate. Now, in this example, this is all dummy data. I've just put in 30 quid an hour. It's just me. I'm happy earning that. Then you've got your invoice details here. You can set up your payment terms, currency settings, things like that. And then this is the main one here, your paint and materials. Now, the way that you can do this is basically take your average monthly spend on paint and materials and then work out how many panels you're painting per month. So we're working off of averages, which is basically better than, you know, out of thin air, because the last thing you want to be doing when you're pricing work is a customer coming up to you, you giving a price out of thin air, and that just leaves the door open for negotiation. Whereas a lot of people that use the app, they turn around and say to me, I don't have anyone negotiate with me. Where they see that I'm using a systematic approach, you know, I'll work out the cost and I say, look, it's coming out of this. And straight away, that customer is just given a price which is systematic, it's been thought about, and it's been calculated, rather than, oh, that's going to be about X, Y, and Z. So the first thing we'll do is we'll go straight to an assessment. Now, you'll see that this is a dashboard. This is the first thing you see when you open the app. You see all your figures, you see your daily reminders, and then you have your dashboard of a new estimate. You can add an expense, you can see all your jobs, and then you get analytics, which we'll dive into a bit later. So again, you can select a customer that's previously been with you before. It saves you entering all the details all over again, data duplication. And what you can do here is, if you think to yourself, do you know what, I don't really want to waste my time entering customer details straight away because it's a bit laborious. I just want to get straight in with a price. And then if the customer does want to book in, then that's when I'll start entering their details, because, you know, the amount of times we get people just fishing for quotes, we don't want to waste our time capturing details we don't need to. So straight away, you're going to see, how do I get rid of this box?
Yeah, I was going to say, Tom, as a customer in store, can you just make sure you're please on mute? You came in a bit late there, so you missed the introduction. But...
Can you guys see the box on of my screen?
Yeah, but it's... Yeah, it's with you being on your phone, though. It's, there you go, you got rid of it now. Great, no problem. Yeah, so everybody on the phone call, please make sure you're on mute. Thank you. Right, go on, Tom.
So what you can see here is you've got different vehicle types, which give you different panel names. You can do all your inner repairs as well to your body frame, your chassis, rear panel, inner quarters, things like that. Then people that do like the interior sort of trims, steering wheels, dash repairs, leather seats. Then you've got your wheel refurbs here, and then you've got miscellaneous. So you've got all your bits and pieces here. It's literally point and shoot, very easy to use. Now, the good thing about the app is you can set your paint and materials costs in the background, and then when you select from here, you can incorporate that into your assessment. So straight away, you are pricing to what the vehicle is. You're not, you know, given one price, one size fits all kind of approach. If it's metallic, it's going to be obviously more than what a solid color costs. If it's free stage, again, it's going to be more than what a metallic costs. And then obviously you got your Xeralic pearls as well. We all know how much Xeralics cost, and this all needs to be incorporated into the app. And you uplift it in the background, percentage-wise, how much you want. So just say you've got a tinter, let's just say a metallic one that's costing you £100, and then you've got a pearlescent tinter, which costs you £120. You need to increase that in the background by 20%. It's nice and easy, nice and simple. But again, the app's going to work tailored to your business. It's not going to tell you what paint and materials you should charge. This is tailored to your business. You need to work out the boring stuff. And then once you've done that once and you put those figures into the app, it's going to work for you all the time. And that's the good thing about the app, is everyone's price is different. And like Tim said before, and he's got a calculator for it, your hourly rate is going to be different to everyone else's. Your payment materials is going to be different to everyone else's, considering the scheme you've got, things like that. That's why it's so important for you to work out what a panel costs you as a business. And then just say, for example, you work out your monthlies of your payment materials, and then you divide that by the amount of panels you do. That's going to give you your price, but that will be a cost price. Then you need to uplift it for your profit. So again, I recommend at least uplifting what it costs you a panel. Just say you work out and you go, oh, it's £50 a panel that, you know, that it costs my business. You want to be charging that out with at least a 20% uplift. Some people go up to 50%. Some people go up to more. This app is meant to work for you. So let's go into an estimate now, and we're going to do a wing repair. So let's say, for example, you know, you're paying less than 50% of the wing. What does that mean? That means you're basing up less than 50% of the wing. You're lacquering the whole wing, but you're basing up less than 50%. So the app is in the background. See, it's changing your paint and materials costs. Now, we've done the paint and materials. You can go, do you know what? If this was a Ford F-150 versus a Fiat 500, you're going to have to uplift the price. So let's just, for example, say this is a Ford F-150. So you've got a large panel, that's uplifted the price in the background, you can see. So straight away, we've got our paint and materials covered. Now, remove and refit time, we've got release an arch liner, take out an indicator, maybe take out the headlight. Let's say all in all, to remove and refit all that, let's just say we're going to be half an hour there. And then the wing repair is going to take 2 hours. And again, this is all going off of the labour rate I've set in the background. And the way you do that is all set up on the website. Tim's also got a calculator that you can use. You're putting these costs together, and this is how you get accurate pricing. So now let's say the dent, we're using 2K high build, we're not using UV, so it's going to take me a little bit more time. Let's just say it's going to take me about an hour and a half to mask it, prime it, and then sand it all down. And then we're going to say it's going to take me another hour and a half to paint it in the booth and then get it out and flat and polish it. So you can see now we've got some prices sort of calculating in the background. You can add some comments here. You could say, I don't know, poor previous repair noticed. Again, this is then going to show on your invoice or your estimate. So the customer's fully aware, you're fully covered. And then at least, you know, a month down the line, if something happens with this wing, you can go back into the assessment and see that you made a note of this. So what we can do, parts here, let's just, for example, say we've got a left front wing badge that we need to renew. And let's just say that's going to cost £15.88. And then we want to add a bit of corrosion protection to the wing because we've added a bit of heat to it. So this is another thing, guys. If you're doing insurance work and things like that, corrosion protection, you'll get it paid for when it comes to insurance assessment. And obviously you should be doing it anyway. If you're doing a bit of pin pulling, it burns the corrosion off the back, doesn't it? So again, we can see now there's a price for the wing, and then we're going to blend the door. Now, you can just hit blend and charge the materials if you really want to, but why would you do that? You're going to need to strip it down a little bit and you need to charge for your time. So say we're taking out the handle, the scraper molding and the mirror, and let's just say it's going to take us 0.6. Repair time, there's none. Prep time, running a Scotch Brite over it, maybe DA-ing it with 1,000. Let's just say it's probably going to take us just over half an hour. And then paint time, again, we're already painting the wing. Let's just say 0.6 again. So we're getting paid for our blend. Now we can go to next, and you're going to get all your running totals here. And this is the point where you say to the customer, right, this is what it's going to cost. And that they're going to say yes or no. If they say yes, you can pick a customer or add a new one. And this is where all your pricing, again, comes into the background here. You've got all your different customer groups, which, again, you set the price in the background. You may just go for retail. And then you can set your customer reminders for their appointment. You can put in how they found you, receive market information. So what you can do with the app is download all their information and then do like an email with an offer, things like that. You get custom rates here, just specifically for this customer if you wanted to do that as well. So let's just save that. In fact, let's just select someone we already know. So let's say this is for enterprise. Enter your vehicle details. Let's just write test. And the app will start generating when you start typing. So we're going to say it's a Ford F-150. And then it's going to generate some color codes for you. So, oh yeah, I saw that on the VIN sticker 09. And that's lightning stripe metallic. So again, this is capturing all that important data. Now, when it comes to assessments, you want to think about compounding prices and things like that. So let's go to add extras. Now, if you think about it, £6 per job. Let's just say you're doing, I don't know, 5 jobs a week or a day. That's £30 extra a day in your back pocket. That's going to be a holiday at the end of the year. And you should be charging these little extras here as well. And a lot of customers will accept these costs. If they say, oh, what's an EPA charge? You say, this is the cost that it covers the Environmental Protection Act. This just covers the repairs of your vehicle and the damage it does to the environment, something along those lines. So you can see now we've got a fully built estimate. It doesn't usually take this long. And when the customer's standing there giving you their life story, you know, you can stop and pause. You're not calculating things in your head. It's all here ready for you. So what we can do now is download this. And you get a choice of a detailed PDF or a standard. A detailed will break it all down for the customer or the insurance company. A lot of people don't realise insurance companies don't actually stipulate whether you are to use a certain system or not. And there you go. And that will show you, obviously, breakdown of everything that the customer needs to know. And at the bottom here, if you send this to them, you can actually tap this and it will come out of the app and go direct straight to your website, whatever you put into the background. And you can put any estimate notes here. Again, another little tip, always charge for an estimate. You know, say to the customer that there is a £15 estimate fee for any, you know, documented estimates, and that's taken off your repairs at the end. And then you know if someone's fishing for a quote. So there you go. That's a brief rundown of how to create an assessment. Just to show you all this, you get all these point indicators here. So the down indicator means that the total number of estimates that I've done this month is down compared to last month. Booked in job value, that's giving me my projections of what I've got coming in. Invoice total, that's up since last year. Expense totals, total number of unpaid invoices, that's gone down, which is good. And the conversion rate. Now, you may be asking, what is a conversion rate? So just say 2 out of the 10 estimates that you've done don't book in. That would give you an 80% conversion rate. This will give you a really good indicator as to whether your pricing's off, any particular reason why the customer isn't booking in with you. If you're getting leads through the door but they're not booking in, there's something that you need to be looking at. And then you can see how people found your business. So if you run a campaign on Facebook and then you ask at the point of investment, how did you find out about us? This is giving you that feedback. This is letting you know what is working. Do another one for you just to show you what else we can do here. So you may have an inner wing repair. It might need just a little bit of a tap, some realignment. Again, all these bits and pieces will show up on the estimate, and you just put your times in again. Parts, miscellaneous. Again, you can put some corrosion protection. You can add whatever you like into there. The app is designed for you to build it as you wish. Left front seat. Again, this will work off background prices. I've not set any up, but it's there ready for you to enter data. Wheel refurbs. Again, you can do labour price per wheel, usually a fixed cost. I know people like to do that, and then you can enter your paint and materials. And you'll be surprised as well when you say to yourself, right, I know this repair is going to take me 3 hours, and you put in your labour rate based on what you know you need, and then your paint and materials based on what you know you need, and you go, oh my God, that's coming out at £350. I was only going to charge 150. This is where the app comes into its own. Again, you've got door mirrors, retexture, blend, or your remove and refit time, and that £30 is charging for a door mirror cover. When you actually calculate the cost of what it's going to take you in time and materials, you'll find it's going to cost a lot more than what you anticipate. And that's the beauty of the app. You know that the prices you put in based on your business and what it comes out as, you know you can't go any cheaper. So when a customer says, is there any movement on that? You go, do you know what? I've worked out my hours. I've put all the data in the app. I know what it's going to cost me in paint and materials. It's got to be this price. And you'll go from being, you know, a busy fool to someone who's actually making money. And you'll attract the right kind of customers, because this projects professionalism. You know, someone seeing that you're using a systematic approach, you know, it builds trust with the customer. It lets them know you're not ripping them off and this has actually been thought about. Yeah, I don't know if anyone's got any questions or if anyone wants me to go over anything again whilst I'm on the app.
So I've just unmuted myself there. So yeah, if anybody who's got a question, you want to unmute yourselves, feel free. I mean, things actually out of that, and this is what I would say to everybody in the group as well. One of the prime things you need to do in business is be consistent. And one of the areas that I see quite often is that you go in for an estimate with a body shop, and unless you've got some type of tool that you're accessing, where you're being specific in what information you're putting in there, and it's got data-driven information in the background of it, i.e. what labour rates you're charging, what your paint materials markups and things like that, you can quite easily be inconsistent in your approach and you provide an estimate, and it might be that you cost one job up different from another. So just having an estimating tool is one of the most powerful things you do, because it is the keys to the profit of your business. So what I just like then with what you're going through with the app then was that it does cover pretty much everything. What I would also say as well, when you showed there in terms of what work was retained from what area and where that business has been driven from. So you can determine that you might have got some work through Facebook. The additional benefits of that is on the lines of marketing. So what you have with that is that if you ever do any advertising and marketing, it's always best to test and measure everything you're doing. So if you're spending some money on a certain place, if you can measure by using this app that you're getting work generated, say, via Facebook, from my point of view, what I've been saying is that you now know through that using the app that you can focus your advertising spend on those resources that are generating money for you. So that in itself, I think, is a good, powerful tool. But who else has got any questions for Tom?
Yeah, I've got one, if that's okay. Is this available on a desktop as well as a Mac as well as a phone, or is it a phone thing only?
So at the minute, it is available on Android and iOS, but it can be used on a Mac that allows you to use apps. I think it's like you have the M1 chip as a minimum. We have people, you can get a multi-user subscription. So just to give you in a nutshell, the app is basically designed, and it has been used by bigger shops who have then seen their growth, and then they've moved on to much larger systems. But this has typically been designed for sort of the one-man bands, the 2-3-man bands, partnerships, things like that, where you can have up to 3 devices on one account and you can all see the same data. You can see what customers are coming in when, and bits and pieces like that. But we are looking to do a desktop system. We're currently building a PDR module as well, for those of you that sort of delve into that. I'm a bit conscious, obviously, this is mainly about estimating, so I don't want to sort of go too often on a tangent about things. But from a business management sort of point of view, this is going to save you a lot of time on admin. And for example, this pending tab here, when you go into my jobs, these are all the jobs that haven't booked in with you yet. So I like to call this my call list. You know, I can see that these were done today, but if there was a date from a week ago, I'd be calling the customer, running through with them, saying, was there anything about the quote, you know, that you wasn't, you was unsure about? Was there anything I can help you with? You've got all these icons here, so you're saving yourself entering customers into your own personal phone, which is what drove me insane. And you can do message templates here, which are going to save you some time. So as soon as I click one of these, this is going to auto generate the message to send an SMS. It can be done via email as well, or if you're a mobile guy and you go to your booked in jobs, this will be all in date order. So just for example, say this is my first job of the day. If I hit the location icon, it's going to take me straight to the customer's address. So it acts as like a scheduling tool as well. You can tap the job and go, right, do you know what? I don't know what I'm doing on this. So I can see on this job when it was estimated, when it was booked in, and the job details. It's a roof job. It's got 8.5 hours on it. That tells me I'm basically repairing and painting a roof. And then I can go to my completed jobs here, and it's all again in month order. I can see who's paid, who's unpaid. You can send statements out to customers. For example, if you've got like a dealership that you do a lot of work for, you can basically go to my customers, and then you can create a statement. This is all old data, guys, so you might have to bear with me. There you go. So I can generate a statement, and I can show unpaid invoices. So I can see that this guy has got 3 invoices he hasn't paid me for, and I want to chase him up. So I'm going to download this, and we can see here, look, overdue 530 days, 195 days, all this old debt. Now, hopefully you don't get yourself into that kind of situation, but yeah, it's just there if you need it. There is a lot more to the app. And again, if anyone wants to see anything, you can add expenses, and your expenses come off of your profit. You go to your analytics here, you can see your monthly invoice totals. You can see what months you've done well, what ones you didn't. Most popular customer type. I can see all my jobs are retail at the minute, one from dealership. That might indicate to me I need to get myself on LinkedIn, find some local dealerships, offer my services. And then my monthly expenses. I've not entered much data there. That's why you're not seeing sort of different colors there. I can download a report from dates. So I can say I want it from 2021. I'm going to ask the app to generate a lot of data here. So it's probably going to take a little while. But look, you can see all your breakdowns of everything. You can give that to your accountant. Again, the app is, I've coined the term, it's your body repair business in your pocket, because it gives you everything you need. And if you want to hide your things from you've got a customer leaning over your shoulder, you can quickly hide all your figures there. But yeah, like Tim said, there's a lot to be said for estimating. And if you guys are doing insurance work, it really, really does pay to educate yourself on what insurance companies allow you to charge, what they expect you to charge. And as I say, there isn't any law or, anything out there that says you have to use a certain system. I have known people, and I do know people that use the app to give insurance quotes. I would be lying if I said, using Audatex or GT Motive was worse, because it isn't. GT is a really great system, really good for the money. Audatex is the, incumbent system. It's what they're used to. But what they tend to do, if you send them a smart estimator estimators, they'll just put it onto Audatex. They'll work out their end, how they want it to look, your estimate. They'll chop and change a few things. And if that is the case and you accept their terms, you can override all your totals ready to invoice the insurance company. So your paying the materials will probably, depend on how you calculate, it might be less, it might be more, and they might try and discount it. Again, the app facilitates all that. And you can even create job cards, add notes, anything you want to put in there. The customer said they didn't want to blend, although I don't recommend that. It's your name on that job when it goes out the door. And I think that is about it, guys. In a nutshell, quick demo. If anyone does want more information, obviously you can reach out to me. That's no problem at all.
Are you able to take pictures to log them to an estimate, or?
Yeah, so the good question. You can basically add photos here, and then what that does is that you can add image links to your estimate. So what the customer will then see, I don't think I've done one with image links for the demo, but basically on the estimate that you saw earlier, it'll have a little box which says you can view photos of your vehicle here, and they just tap the hyperlink and it goes straight to the cloud and pulls up an image. And again, you can cover yourself by taking pictures there. You can show the customer the work you've done or any supplementary work. You can take a picture and reshare the estimate and say, look, found this damage, please view it on your estimate. And you're just capturing all that information and you're covering yourself against any sort of customers that try it on. We've all been there. It's not nice. But the app, again, it does protect you because you can add your comments here and all this appears on your estimate and invoice. So if you put on there, you're doing a bonnet, for example, and you're not doing all the stone chips, when you send that estimate to the customer and they say, oh, it says you're not doing all the stone chips, you go, I'm only doing the prepared area. I'm not going all the way back to, your wing area. I'm keeping it local. And they can say, oh, I thought you'd do that. And you go, well, it's going to need me to blend your wings then if you want me to do that. Oh, no, I'm not paying for that. And then look, okay, that's fine. I'll keep it local, but you may see some stone chips. You've covered yourself. If you go back a week, a month, a year, it's going to be here on the app ready for you to, review it. And, you're protecting yourself. It's everything that you need in one app, essentially.
Did you say that you could turn that into a job card as well? Or is that?
Yeah. So let me try and find a job that's actually got good data on it, so you can get the so you can add technician note. You've got a couple of boys working for you. You can say check for damage behind front bumper, or customer said the fog light wasn't working. Anything that you feel like you guys should know, you can put that there. And there you go. You got your remove and refill hours, your repair hours, prep, paint, jig, pull in, anything like that. Left front wing, poor previous repair notice, and then you got all your times on there with all your other charges. And you can share that. You can share that to anyone really via WhatsApp. If you're in the office and you want to share it to one of the guys, get this one in next. It's got the reg on it. It's got the make, model, and they'll go grab it for you and work on it.
How much does it cost, Tom?
It's £10 a month plus VAT, so it works out £11.99 a month for a single user, and then if you want 3 users, it's 25. But if you think about it, it's less than sort of 40p a day, and the amount of time this would save you just alone, let alone you working out in profit, the amount of more money you'll make from doing systematic, consistent estimates. And you can cancel anytime. You're not tied into a contract. It's completely rolling. And if you ever need any support, if you need any advice, there's a lot of stuff on the website, or again, you can reach out to me any which way.
Do them job cards have prices on it, or is it literally just like time and what's on there and stuff like that? Or
it is just time. I haven't put any prices on there for obvious reasons. It's commercial reasons. You don't really want to be putting any prices out there. It's just the hours.
Okay, brilliant.
Is there a cost per estimate over and above the monthly fee?
No, it's just it's really reasonable. It's just £11.99 a month, as many estimates as you want. No hidden costs.
Does it do anything GDPR wise of like, you know, if you have to delete people's details after a certain amount of time?
Yeah, so you can delete, basically estimates are attached to customers. So if you want to delete a customer, you have to delete all their data first. Everything's stored securely in the cloud. Again, you can delete your account at any time as well, and it deletes all the data with it. So yeah, it's pretty compliant, especially when you're capturing marketing sort of information as well. At that point of estimate, if the customer says yes, you've got that marked on the app.
I was just wondering, when you make the estimates, is there a way of like having kind of automatic text that it puts on the estimate? So, you know, if there is a bad previous repair, can you have just automatic text so you don't have to type it all in saying, because there's a bad repair there, we can't guarantee yada yada? Or
yeah, so that's one of the things that I'm looking to implement. So when you saw that comments box, I was going to bring up a slider which would have like very generic sort of you know, terms that we would use in the industry, like poor previous repair, rust found, you know, any bits and pieces like that. But I would say it is beneficial to be quite specific, because in hindsight, when you do ever come across a problem, should you ever come across one, it's just good to know that someone's noted it in a very specific way, because that would have been presented to the customer in the exact same way. And the last thing you want to have is a customer go, "Oh, I didn't know what that meant," you know, and bits and pieces like that. And again, another thing I'm looking to explore is a customer approval signature, so they can manually sign it when they're there with you to say that they've agreed to the estimate. Or you can do it remotely, send them a link to remotely sign the works off as well. But again, that's all these kinds of things that we've got going on in the background. Was there anything else, anyone? These are all invoice jobs. You can see when they're invoiced, who's paid, unpaid. You just tap it and you can still see all this information, view, edit images. Very simple to use. Again, once you get used to it, it'll be second nature. And I know a lot of people really rate the app. You got Travis from Travis Autos, he's using it now. Guy from Premier Smart, Car Cosmetic Services. There's people in the USA using it. It's just constantly growing, and we plan to grow with you guys and the suggestions you come up with.
So I think you can see it's a cracking little piece of kit, and certainly that price point as well. To me, it's an absolute no-brainer, because you are building profit into your business straight away. You're more than covering the cost of that. You want to just flip your back as admin on it if you can, Tom?
Yep. Stop share.
Thank you. Fabulous. It's just that I've got somebody who's dropped out of it, and I need to let them back in.
All right.
I couldn't do it when you were host, so.
Right, let's make you a host. Do I just tap your name,
Yeah.
Tim?
No, I'm back now. That's fine. I've got it.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. So. No, I should have. I'm on it now.
No, hold on, mate. I think I need to make you host.
Right.
There you go. There you go, mate.
Thank you. Yeah, there we go. So there's Mark, who fell out a second ago, which it's important he's on, because he's delivering stuff later on. So yeah, it's so I hope you all enjoyed that. It's the first time I've actually seen it myself. I think it's an absolutely cracking piece of kit. But I said the primary things to me is that it's important that when you're in a business, you understand everything relating to the basic financial foundations of it. So you need to know all of your costs for your actual spend per month, what your operational costs are, what your break-even rate is, but also your recovery rate as well, because there's things where you can manipulate your hours, where sometimes you might have a slightly lower labour rate, but if you're quoting more time to do the job than what it takes you, your actual recovery rates, the amount of profit you get back off it can be greater. Now, on stuff, so using the Estimator app is what we used to do in the past, being like as a fag packet estimate, but it's consistent, it's accurate, and it's got a lot of data behind the back of it as well. What Tom was saying there is that if you then did want to use that with an insurance company, what you might find is they want to try to change it to order text and then come back and quote it off that. Now, order text is one of the more prevalent tools that's been used throughout the UK, but one of the competitors in the marketplace is GT Multi. Now, GT Multi were used primarily in the Spanish marketplace, and where we have order text in the UK as being the main one, in a lot of European countries, it was the other way around where GT Multi was. And again, I think it's an absolutely fantastic tool. It's dead easy to use. When you're actually going through the process of repair to create an estimate on it, there's things where, in some ways, I think it's easier. So what I'd like to do now is bring Martin in, and Martin I'll put you as host in a second, Martin. Yeah, I'll put him as co-host on it so I can do two things in it. I just want to make sure Mark Percy can hear me and see me because he's going to be coming on later on as well. So, Martin, over to you.
Right, so I will share the screen. Are you all being able to see my screen now?
Here we can.
Yep. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take you through a quick overview because in terms of how we show this, it takes us normally from a demo purposes, we come to site around 2.5 hours. We probably haven't got that tonight. You'll be going to bed before then, be fast asleep. So I'll just do a quick retail job that you might want to convert at some stage later on into insurance quote, and it'll look like an insurance quote. So I'll take you through a quick estimate if that's okay. So let's just log in. It's cloud-based. It can be used on any kind of format. In terms, it can be used on a Mac, it can be used on iOS, it can be used on Android tablets, it can be used on Windows desktop. So it's just a URL, it's cloud-based, and I'm literally in here. I'm now going to go to my work, create a new job. I'm just going to put a job number in there, reg number. And on the repairer, and in here we can put the policyholder details. So put that in there, and if you're going to make it for an insurance company, you could, I'm just going to put AXA in there for now, and any insurance notes. This is the vehicle. So if I've got the mileage on the vehicle, put the mileage in. You don't need to put the chassis number or anything because we'll search all that in a minute. If you've got any claim reference numbers at all, you can put the accident date in there. So then date it was reported to the insurance, when it's on any policy numbers, etc. You can put accident circumstances, customers driving down the road and third party hit the back of him. And you just save that information and come back to the job information. Let's put some images on there. So we'll put so loads of images. And if you want to put them in a storybook order, so you want identification shots in the order, you can move them around, etc. If you want to put some notes on there, you can click the you can add a shape. Let's go for color yellow, and it's the circle, and then we drag the circle for the damage area, and then you can also put some text. And you can also put some notes in here. If required, save that as a copy. That saves it as a copy. There we go, as a copy. and go back to the job information, and then we can now just create this estimate. And what this is doing is going off in the background. We use Kazana as a valuation tool. It's going into the DVLA, picking all of that data, taking it into Volkswagen's data, and bringing back all the information, chassis number, etc. And it's done what we call a full VIN query and search exactly what's on that vehicle. And if we jump into the equipment side, this is all of the information that VIN search has picked up, telling you what's fitted on this vehicle. As if you go down the exterior equipment, we know that it's fitted with a Sports J2 bumper. It's got fog lights, lights off delayed, it's all been picked. And if you use the ADAS, it even tells you this has got enlarged pedestrian protection, smart speed regulator, assisted emergency braking and front and rear parking assistance. And from an engine point of view, it gives you all the information, what fuel it is, anti-pollution, mechanical set, electrical set. So it's got a 440 amp alternator with a 78 amp battery, what the gearbox is, the maintenance, everything there, all within that equipment area. You can get down to your data where you can, I've already preset the rates on this retail. So sorry, Tom, but I do my retail rate at £70 an hour. And it's up to you. You can discount that back if you want to. So if you wanted to do it at 60, it changes all the panel, MET panel, paint, electrical and trim to £60 an hour. Or if you're happy with the 70, it goes back to 70. From a parts point of view, so we've got sundries set at 3.5%. No. Got no excess at the moment. If you need to put an excess in there, taxes at 20% VAT. Estimate, this is where you put any assessment notes, if you've got assessment notes. And this is where you've already put the customer's name and address in. And if you want to, from an insurance point of view, you can say that the vehicle's in good condition, the brakes were good, steering's good. You don't have to do this, it's not mandatory. It's just for your own information and it records it. That's the date of registration. And here is the market value of that vehicle. Also at the top, because we've done a full VIN search, it's giving you the paint code, what you'll need to mix for that paint. Vehicle damages, so let's put a wing, a headlight, and we'll just repair a door and blend the back door. Regional settings, just your UK. If you wanted to put any discounts in there, it's up to you if you want to put parts discounts, etc. Even on the paint section, it's indicating 100% paint index, so there's no discount on that paint. Your reports, you can put your header on there, so that when the estimate prints out, it's your header. And I've set the waste EPA at £30. Tyres, if you do want to mark up your tyre depth, so let's put the standard. Tim will understand this joke. And then functionality, this is just different things you can set up with manual times, economic parts type. To be honest, we never touch this, we just leave this alone. And then we come into operations. And here we've got a generic picture of a vehicle. And there are various items here that you can click onto. Auxiliary operations, where all your jig operations are. If you pull in wheel alignment, body alignment, full assemblies, it's even got all your engine oil, so it will give you the viscosity of the oil and how many litres you need for that. That's including brake fluid, fuel, antifreeze, exactly what you need for this vehicle. Come back to here, so click on the bonnet gets exposed, and I now want to say renew the bonnet, goes blue, and out here if we click the ABC, I'm going to go for replace. That adds that operation for replace. Do you want a mounting kit for that? So here we've got the part number from Volkswagen and the price for the mounting kit. We've got the replace bonnet, which is the part number for the bonnet, the price of that bonnet. Although it looks 0.4 of an hour. That's just for the replace of the bonnet, not including the remove and refit. And this is the paint materials for that bonnet, and it's 2.2 hours. If you calculate the job just on that bonnet now, £1,589.95 for the job. The bonnet price, the mounting kit price, we've got remove and refit bonnet. We need to add the replace bonnet, which is farther down, and the adjustment, which includes adjustment and the remove and refit. So I've got 0.6 and 0.4 mechanical and panel. So we've got an hour to take that old bonnet off and put the new one on once it's been painted. We get into paint labour, 2.2 hours to paint it, plus your preparation paint work, which is 1.1, and that's broken down by 0.5 for the main panel, colour mixing 0.3, colour sampling for 0.3, and your materials are down here. So we're not finished there, we're going to go into this. I'm still on that bonnet. As Tom mentioned to you, there's things that you need to keep an eye out for. So anti-corrosion treatment. That's the official Volkswagen code, and you get 0.3 of an hour for applying that. I will go back to my data here, click on my parts, anti-corrosion machine, I charge at £12 a panel. I'm going to come to the wing now, click the left front wing, put that down for replace. Again, keep the mounting kit on there. And again, I'm going to put anti-corrosion materials on there. That gives me another 0.3. Go back to my data on parts. I'm now at £24. I'm now going to move along the vehicle to the door. Click the door, and I'm going to this time repair it. So hit the spanner. I'm going to put 3 hours labour down. The system automatically defaults, and as Tom said to you, the preparation area or the repaired area, I'm saying on this one, it's greater than 50%, so that will increase your paint materials in terms of painting or priming the whole door, so they increase more paint materials and more labour time. And I'm going to repair from the top of the door to the bottom of the door. So we've got a graph here, so I'm going to use zone F. That's everything below the frame, except that. And I'm now going to do all my remove and refits. So I'm going to go left rear mirror, remove and refit, door handle, remove and refit, and I'm going to surface paint and blend. It's a light metallic, so I want to surface paint and blend. I'm going to do the front strip, and then my panel beaters come in and said, hold on a second, I was messing around with that door a little bit more, I had to adjust on the hinges, so let's go back to the door. If we look here, we've got an adjust button, so click the adjust button. That gives you again an official time of 0.3 of an hour for the adjust. And move along to the back door. And as you can see, every time I hover over something, it's left and right, if it's handed. If you do get confused and you just want to see the one side of the vehicle, I'm only using left. Down here, we can have a lateral adhesive lock. So I'm going to go for left only, and now you only see left. So I'll click that door. On this one now, I'm going to go paint, surface paint and blend. And I'm going to do the door handle, remove and refit. I don't think I'm going to get away with the surface paint and blend on the back door, but hey ho. And on it, remove and refit. Once I've done that, as Tom mentioned earlier, there's things you need to make sure that you're charging for, and we call them user operations, with this little person down here. I've got all my user operations set up by groups, so I can look at strip and fit, retail customer, etc. Or I can search in here, so I'm going to go technical data and methods. Even if you're not BS 10125, you should still be having to research those methods. So I'll be charging for it. I'll go for a QC check. I'm going for a car care kit. I'm going for a pre-sweep. Diagnostics, I'm going to go for a post-sweep. I'm going for sanitisation. Tom, you need to change it because insurers will not accept COVID at the moment. They're cancelling it with everyone. So I'm going to go for PPE. And I'm going to go for surge, energy surge charge. And on that bonnet, I'm going to go for beads. So I haven't got bonnet bead sealer in there, so I can make it. So bead sealer. If you've got if you're using Tiger Seal, it might be TIG. You can put the part number for the Tiger Seal, and you can put can't spell. Like a bead sealer, and it's a replace, and the price I'm going to say £34.69 at the tube. Labour time to do that is 0.5, and I'm going to do that on the paint section. I'm going to save that to my operation, so next time I come into a job, bead sealer for bonnet will be there. I accept that, and that'll add that to the job. I'm going to go for road test, short road test. Once I'm happy with all of that, come back and calculate the job. I'm now at £4,500. Close that. That's gathering all that information. Go to my reports. Here's the job report. Open the job report. And as this is cloud-based, every time I click something, it's always remembering it. It will never forget it. It's remembering everything in the background. And this is gathering up there. So there's your information, the customer, there's your header. There's everything on this is technical report. Anything that I've changed manually or add manually, there's a flag against it. There's a breakdown of all the labour, including your final items. And here are all the images that are attached that you can all send off if you wanted to an insurance company. Just download that or email it off. There is a customer report, so if you don't want that much detail, here is the customer report, and it hasn't got as much information in terms of the technical information, and then you can send that off to the customer as well. Come back to the summary, there's all your information, and that's all saved in your My Work folder. If this then the customer disappears and says, well, you're too expensive, or I don't think I can afford that, £4,500, they can turn that into an insurance job again if they're approved or not approved, or they can create a new job, create the job, create a new job, and then what they can do is import that job into the shell or into a new insurance job for the customer. I've done that very quickly because I know we're all it's nearly 8:30 and we've got the auditor to carry on. So I'll stop the share. Tim, is that all right?
Yeah, no problem. Put me back over again.
Yeah. So
yeah, well, your co-host on it as well, so you're okay with that. So
yeah.
Has anybody got any questions for at all? Anybody?
What is the cost for that?
So that costs £12.50, and that's it. There's no other cost. We don't charge monthly costs. We don't charge training costs. We don't charge installation costs. Nothing. So if you only do one in the month, we charge you £12.50. If you do two in the month, we charge you £25. If you do none in the month, we charge you nothing. Nothing comes out your bank or anything like that. And we just send you a BACS invoice, passed by BACS. obviously if you do 10 in a month, you pay 10 times £12.50. I think Richard from Fiorenora Cars, he uses the system, so I don't know if anybody else in the room uses it. So this is not to replace Tom's. Tom's is a great system, quick, standing outside. If you're doing a car and you, like Tom says, you're a single user or maybe a 3 user and you're not in that insurance, well, it's fine. And you can still use Tom's one, as Tom's right. All insurance companies will accept anything, whether it is on the back of a fag packet or it's a professional looking thing like Tom's, or it's an insurance based, giving you all the data one. When I say insurance based, manufacturer based and AZT paint based one like ourselves.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Have you got any questions? I mean, again, at the price point it's at, but I just can't get my head around where there's body shops that are still in this day and age not using estimating systems. So anything in terms of actually detailing what your costs are. And again, for me, it's about being consistent. Anytime you do an estimate, it should be that you get the same estimate for the same type of damage for any customer that you do. Anytime you're not being consistent in the approach you take doing the estimate to create the cost, and ultimately when you're doing an estimate, it's all about the methodology of repair first of all. So did you get the method of repair correctly? And then you transpose that to an estimating system where you're making sure every aspect of the methods of repair transposes into the estimate, then the cost will follow out of it. And you can see just from what then Martin was doing, then the actual cost at the end of it might surprise you where it's at. Certainly if you've not used an estimating system and you're not aware of, you might think, oh, it's going to cost X amount of grand. When you've got user tool that details it specifically, all of a sudden you'll start seeing your leakage. You'll start seeing how much money you're losing. Now, as part of doing that, because consistency is key, I'm going to hand it over to Mark. But Mark, I can't see your camera, so you need to put your camera on.
Can I ask one thing about GT Motive just before we?
Yeah, of course you can, yeah.
Do you do like training courses on that? Because obviously it's a very comprehensive system, and just in terms of like, I know Auditech does like a 2-day course or whatever. That's quite a lot, but do you do something like that?
Yeah, so we're just about to launch a classroom training session. Do you use Deb's Auditech at the moment?
We do. We don't do a massive amount of insurance estimates, but we do use Auditech.
Okay, so there's a couple of things. Where are you based, Debs?
Cheltenham.
Cheltenham. So I'm more than happy to come down to you and sit in your office for a whole morning or afternoon, and we'll go through the system in a lot more detail. We don't charge for training. So I'm not prepared to do a certificate that is not recognised for everything every year that you sort of enforce. I can see Richard laughing his little head off there. It's not recognised by anybody as certification, and I would rather have somebody like Tim Kelly, or you're doing your VDAs, going through the actual NVQs, or going and learning to do estimating that way. Ours is just a system. All of you use Microsoft Outlook or something like that. When was the last time you did your certification training for Microsoft Outlook or Gmail? You don't. So we're happy to come to site if it need be, and I'm happy to do that for you, Debs, if you're in Cheltenham. So I'm not a million miles from it, and we'll train with you. I'm happy to give the system out free of charge for 2 weeks, so you can play with it as well. So we don't charge for that, and after the 2 weeks, you can make a decision. As like Tom said earlier, we don't have a contract. There is a contract, but you can just walk away from it. There's no 90 days notice or anything like that. Sorry, Rich.
I've got a question.
Let people know. I don't have any.
Richard, stop. You're sounding like something off Dr. Who at the moment.
Yeah, he always sounds like that. It sounds like when he's on the phone to me. You think with Richard's money, you'd be able to afford a decent mic, wouldn't you?
Yeah, we think that.
Do
Go on, Rich, you can do it.
yeah, because we have someone do our Auditech to send them to insurance. It was something we're looking into getting ourselves. Obviously, everything's a cost and downtime. With your system, how do you get that across to the insurance? Because obviously, with an Auditech one, just network.
So we're growing in the marketplace at the moment. So if you take on GT at this moment in time, you have the ability to send it to 3 insurers, which is direct to that, and Hastings on board in the next couple of months. But in the meantime, the repairers that I know, like maybe Richard and a few others that I've got who are independents with no contract, they just turn it into a PDF like you saw with the images and just email it out to say motorclaims@lv.co.uk or admiral.com, whatever, and then just get an authority like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Bit like what you do with Tom's really as well. So it's the same sort of thing, you know, but there are insurers you can network it to. And you don't network it neither. So from what Deb's asked earlier about GDPR,
yeah.
Once you send it to the 3 that I've said, or you're in contract with one of the insurers that recommends it, like say First Central, there's no GDPR issues because you can't network it to the wrong person because it's locked in between you and that insurer.
Okay, and it's just player estimate, and you can do as many as you want a month.
We do as many as you want. It's just £12.50 a job. So
yeah.
if you do 100, it's 100 times £12.50. Yeah. So.
Okay. Yeah.
And what I would say as well is just to jump in before you're there, Richard. So I mean, I've had meetings in the last few weeks with different insurance companies, and where in the past there was an absolute reluctance in any way to start dealing with estimating tools that weren't compatible with their systems, because they were more concerned about API links and transferring across from an estimating system to the claim systems. That now isn't as much of an issue. So the companies that I spoke with in the last few weeks of it, I had a meeting with Aviva yesterday and a few weeks ago. I've been speaking with Admiral. Hastings you said about as well. More and more of them now are accepting any estimating tool, but they are having GT Motive actually in their engineering departments. So I know some of them have been training with the engineers, because the engineers need to understand the tool as well as the body shop owners as well. So, yeah. But certainly, and I think it's about time the incumbents like Solera, Auditex do reduce the marketplace, because they just capitalised on it, and every insurance company is using them, and they have done over the last 20, 30 odd years. But with every type of system, there's always inherent flaws in it, and certainly with Auditex, there's times when sometimes it's not stable, sometimes it doesn't communicate right, sometimes the data sets are wrong, sometimes it cocks up in the costings. So having access to different resources that do, that might be more consistent or more reliable, as well as doing everything else, I think is, it's a beneficial thing. But yeah, go on, Richard.
Okay, I think there's a couple of things that are important for people who are coming from not having used a system before. First of all, GT Motive is very, very user-friendly, very easy to use. So if you come from nothing, that's great. If you've used Auditex, then it's going to be quite intuitive to move over. The support from GT is second to none. Martin is probably too good, but the team behind him are amazing. I've had a couple of issues, one today, and it was resolved within a couple of hours. A couple of back and forwards about the actual issues, but the support really is good. I've got Auditex queries that are 3-4 weeks old, getting no attention at all. If you're not using it for anything else, just getting your costed parts list is going to save you more than £12.50. So if you're preparing an estimate that has got panels or bits and pieces, just having that at your fingertips straight away, that just saves you money. You haven't got to make a phone call. Just so simple. So as a stepping stone, getting to use something, anything, has got to be your first step, because using nothing is almost stupid. That's no longer acceptable. Using something that's got costed parts has got to be a really, really good step for any body shop that's doing panel replacement. So I think, anybody who's not convinced, they should really take a look, take Martin up on his offer of talking to them, giving them a demo. It'll just save you and make you so much more money than you've made before.
Just kind of follow on from that bit of it as well. So Martin, so if people want to find you, where can they find you?
If you have a look in the chat now, okay, yep. If you can all look in the chat, I'll just put myself and Stephen Hames' email address in there. Right, If not, mine's pretty easy. It's Martin with a y.rowley@gtmotive.com. And Stephen Hames is Stephen.Hames, Hames, @gtmotive.com. And I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on, yeah, if you want to message me on LinkedIn, I'm happy to, like I say, as Richard said, I mean, I've often had conversations with Richard at 9 o'clock on a Sunday night, even on a bank holiday. Stephen's probably not as flexible as me. That's because he doesn't exercise enough. But I'm more than happy to take emails or phone calls during non-working hours, because I know how busy you all are during the day. So I'm happy to carry on working, to get whatever you need done. So.
And just out of courtesy as well, so I forgot to do it with Tom as well. So Tom, if you want to unmute yourself. So if anybody's interested in Smart Estimator App, so Tom, where can people find you?
I'm going to put my email in the chat as well, if that's all right. And you can just find me on LinkedIn, or if you head to the website, just type in Smart Estimator App, and then a chat icon appears. That is just me on the end of the chat there. You can just contact me anytime.
All right, no problem at all. Like I said, for me, I can't stress the importance of being able to create accurate assessments and generate costings, because you need to know the profit in your business. But the other thing is, it's about being consistent in the approach you take. So when I work for insurance companies, part of what I used to do was I'd audit different body shops. I could tell who was doing the estimates. So I know from which estimator, from what estimate was coming through, who was doing it, because there'd be one guy who would be absolutely perfect every time. And, I couldn't pull anything off his assessments, because everything he'd be requested to be justified as a primary thing. And one of the things you need to be doing as well, so anybody shop that's been, it's BS 10125, what you should be doing is accessing the repair methods before you even start doing the estimate. And what you can also find is that when you start doing the assessment, certainly with Auditex, there's, like I said, we've seen other estimating systems out there, but my experience is primarily based around Auditex, so I work for insurance companies for so long. And what you can often find is that when you actually click on Auditex and start going through what you're required to generate the estimate, sometimes you'll find these processes involved in the repair process that aren't automatically generated. So what you then need to do on Auditex is go into the ancillary items in the background and click on them to generate the additional things that you need. Now, unless you know what you're looking for and where they are, and also, it's part of the repair process because you've accessed something like eScribe or the manufacturer repair methods on it, you can quite easily miss it. And then when you miss it, you're losing profit. So this is why Mark, where's he gone now? Mark's disappeared off the screen. He was here a second ago. Oh, there he is. He pops from the bottom again.
Sorry, mate. The dog's barking. I had to turn my microphone off.
Yeah, you just sort of disappeared there, just at the point where I'm about to hand you over, and like, where's he gone? So Mark has a company doing estimate audits. So I'm going to pass you across to Mark, and Mark will show you the benefits about being accurate in the assessment you create, the need to look at the methodology repair, but also to make sure that anything that you're going through that methodology repair is incorporated in the assessment when you're doing it. But it's not about just doing that on one job, it's about doing it on every single job. And Martin alluded to before the fact that there's things that you can be putting in your assessments. And Tom said the same thing as well, where putting something on each estimate that's £6, well, if you don't do it and you miss it, you might just think I'm losing £6, but if you miss it on 100 jobs, you've lost £600 of profit. So making sure you're being accurate and consistent on every single job is the key to profit. So I'm going to pass you across to Mark. So I'm going to make you host, Mark.
Okay.
Yeah, co-host.